Welcome to Storybreakers, the show where we come up with a brand new film idea off the top of our heads. I'm your host, Chris Brennan, and today we're back with our latest miniseries. The topic this time, Friday the 13th. For this run, I'm joined by horror creators, writers, and critics from around the world to break story on one critical question. What should the next chapter of Jason Voorhees' story look like? And as always, let us know in the comments what direction you would take this legendary franchise. Now, this episode is part of our Friday the 13th Storybreakers run, but unlike some of the other touring sessions, which are actually hosted on our guest channels, this one is right here on the official Storybreakers YouTube account. So far, our Friday the 13th lineup includes episodes with Cody Leach, Drum Dums, Chris Stanley, Planet CHH, and now Paul Bushe. If you enjoy this session, make sure that you subscribe and stab that bell icon. Okay, now for today's session, where I'm joined by the co-writer and co-director of the horror thriller Killers Within, Mr. Paul Bushe. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Good to be back.
And now, since this episode is about Friday the 13th, my first question to you is, what is your relationship with this franchise?
It is nowhere near as close as I'm sure a lot of your counterparts now, the other hosts will have on it. My history with it is, I actually think the first one I saw was the first one. But I remember as a kid looking at the boxes in the video store, being intrigued by them, thought Jason had a cool look. I remember seeing the first film and then wondering, where's Jason? And, you know, then he springs out of the water, that jump scare at the end. I find it an interesting franchise from the point of view of it's gone on for so long. It's had a load of different types of iterations or takes. How the monster didn't start off as the monster in terms of where he ended up. It was really by the third film, I think, he got his hockey mask. It was the mother was the killer in the first film. He had a bag in his head in the second film. The third film, he got the hockey mask. And then as it kept going, it was, there you go. It was diminishing returns in box office. So they just started throwing shit at the wall. My favorite one, I think, is probably Jason X. I just think it's a very funny movie. And I think it was really kind of brave idea to do it. And then I did like Freddy versus Jason. I wish we got a Freddy versus Jason versus Michael, or Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, or something of that ilk. They kind of kept that going. I thought that would have been cool.
Right.
But yeah, apart from that, like that's my knowledge of it. I suppose he's not a character. Is maybe my hot take, is that like that's why the franchise has struggled over the years. And
that's right, and that's why we haven't had one for so long. It's the writer and the director, and one is like, I got Jason, and the other's like, I got Friday the 13th. It's actually why the later films, outside of the Paramount films, that's where they start relying on Jason goes to the camp, Jason goes for lunch, like that kind of thing. Like the titles are Jason. They figured that in 2009 with the reboot, the remake of Friday the 13th, but I think it's back in Tangled Hell again. Jason,
particularly because that it wasn't like a success, and that was that era of like, I actually looked at that trailer again today as well, and it was like from the director of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. So it's like these properties, these kind of like slasher movies, I don't think they work in modern cinema. I think slasher movies are of a certain time.
Okay.
And I just don't think they're sophisticated enough for today's audiences, or they've just been done to death. So I think that's the inherent challenge with them all. But they're big IPs, and they'll keep on trying, but I don't think it's ever going to work. Now everyone hates me.
No, but it's true with the Freddy versus Jason. Like, I rewatched all of them throughout January while I've been doing the series, so I went through 12. Some of them I thought I saw before, but I just went, no, I think I don't recall a word of this. Some I have seen, but I ended with Freddy versus Jason. Turns out that was actually a box office success. And I'm like surprised they didn't Can I go back
That's
to that
it.
well again?
I thought it
No,
did
they just
okay
went,
at the
no,
time.
let's reboot them all. And then all of them got rebooted and then just stopped. Like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Just 2 one-off reboots and then
That's
just
it.
ended there.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it.
All right, but that leads us to our question, which
I
is
know.
interesting because you had a very hot take that you can't do slashers in modern cinema. So if you were in charge, what would you do for the next installment of the Friday the 13th franchise?
And my first question, our terms of engagement here, rules of engagement, in the way that the rights have been split up in real life, can we
Yeah.
just do whatever we want? Can we have
Yeah,
Jason
yeah.
and okay, fine.
Oh,
grand,
we're not doing that.
Oh, we're not doing that. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
come
okay.
on. Where's the fun in reality?
That's true. That's true. Okay, so we can go anywhere.
No,
So,
this is back to our original principles from years ago. The idea that like we just been pulled into the studio head's office. We're not prepared at all, and they're like, "Give us your take," and we're like, "Ah."
well, don't
And
worry,
then-
I'm not
and
prepared.
now we're like, there's a nurse. Yeah, there's a nurse. Yeah,
Mm.
and she went fish, and that's all we're doing. Like, there's no rules.
All right,
But is it
perfect.
prequel, sequel, reboot, versus? We can do whatever we want today.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I did a bit of like looking into what does the day mean, or what's the significance of the day in the movies, and I
Yeah.
think like originally it was just a cynical thing of like we'll just pick a date, like they've got Halloween, we'll have Friday the 13th, and then I think they worked it into his story. Jason was born on Friday the 13th in 1950 something or 1946, something like that in June.
Yeah.
So look, you could do like an event film where like every Friday the 13th, we're not going to do an anthology thing again. You can also, like, Friday the 13th also means kind of bad luck. You could make a comedy,
That's right.
where it's just like there's a guy called Jason and he has the worst luck in the world, and it's
Oh
gonna
my
be
gosh,
like
you were going way far away.
yeah. So it could be like a really unlucky guy who I'm thinking nearly like a mid 2000s Jim Carrey movie, like Liar Liar style type movie where like
Wow.
you could go there.
could.
You could. He's not disfigured. He's not a big tall guy. His name is Jason, and he's just having the worst luck in the world.
Voorhees.
Exactly. Yeah. He's in trouble. You could do that. So I'm sort of torn at like where you go with it. Like there's, I don't know. Would you want to keep this in horror?
I think we should. I
Okay.
mean, there's a certain point where what's the point of even using the name? Funny enough,
I think we're long past that.
as you said, it actually started with just the title. Like they stuck it in a newspaper and said the scariest film ever. It's a take on Halloween, but they didn't know what to do with it. And in other sessions, I've actually brought up the point that rewatching them all, the date has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. There's nothing about superstition or unluckiness. Like, they don't even mention the date in a few of them. In fact, in some of those initial sequels, they take place like the next day. So I'm like, wait, so it's Saturday the 15th or Saturday the 14th? I'm like, what's going on? So they played really fast and loose with it. So if anything, I would actually be interested in exploring a slasher or a horror film that probably keeps Jason, but we kind of incorporate the actual concept of an unlucky, superstitious day into it. I don't know if that's like, you summon Candyman by saying his name 3 times in a mirror. So, like, you have these characters breaking superstitions on Friday the 13th. Very simple, but I'm like, it's there. I don't think anybody would take the title Friday the 13th right now. If it didn't exist and you go, what do we do with it? They wouldn't go this route. But because they never did, nobody ever thought of it. I'm like, there's not like nobody's going under a ladder in 12 films. Like, come on, it's right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
You keep going in a barn. Just go under a ladder. The alternative, though, if you want to get reckless, is we do a versus. We just throw Ash in the mix and just have some fun with it.
I mean, I think that's other people's ideas. I think that's been done. It might have been done in comics. But like I did again look up like the significance of the name. It does have biblical roots. This is just the
Okay.
AI here. It is believed that 13 individuals attended the Last Supper, with Judas Iscariot being the 13th guest. So that's the significance of 13. Norse
Ah,
mythology. An ancient myth tells of 12 gods having a dinner party interrupted by the uninvited 13th guest, the trickster Loki, leading
okay.
to the death of the beloved god Balder. The Knights Templar, the mass arrest of the Knights Templar by King Philip IV of France occurred on Friday, the 13th of October, 1307. So it has a kind of like a lot of, 13 is an unlucky number, 13, like it has this biblical
You got
stuff.
Judas and Loki in the mix.
I know, yeah, yeah. And
Judas, Loki, and Jason.
I just wonder, could we pull in, like, look, we're gonna go horror. So
Yeah.
not to go Hellraiser on it or anything like that, but like there's probably an explanation as to why Jason is this, immortal zombie character. I don't know what it is, and I think if you started a new franchise, you should make that at the beginning. You should set that up. Why does he come back? You could link it to gods and monsters or religious mythology or possession or something like that, to try and give the character some reason to exist, some reason to come back. Because I think it's kind of you, you need something apart from just this giant guy coming to kill people.
Another thing I noticed rewatching it all was the fact that we never see what happened to Jason really. Like the first film, we don't even know anything about Jason to the last few minutes when
Mm,
his mother arrives and then she's like, "Oh, Jason died." I was like, always thought that was like peppered throughout. And
mm,
all we see is this like few seconds of the kid drowning. And it's like, oh, we never really see it. Oh, we don't really see much of this. So
mm.
there's an entire backstory that hasn't been explored. Now, I think they might be doing that with the show,
I think so.
Camp
Yeah.
Crystal Lake, but still, like, it just goes from that 5 second clip, mother is upset, and then the
Mm,
sequel, he's an adult with a bag in his head.
I know.
So there's lots to do, lots to pull from. But maybe take it from a different angle. Do you want to do this in the past, the present, or the future? So do you think this is like, let's go to the 50s, let's go to the 80s, or is this like right now, 2027 or so?
We'd done, I looked at a previous idea before, but like I'd be interested in kind of bringing in religious connotations and curses.
Okay.
And, if you sort of put this, what's an era of kind of like religious hysteria, maybe the 50s more, that 60s era.
80s
Uh,
had Satanic Panic.
It did have Satanic Panic, but I know that's been kind of like, now don't spoil the end of Stranger Things, I haven't finished it yet. But like, I know with the Hellfire Club in one of the seasons, they were kind of like touching base on the Satanic Panic. So I kind of feel other
Just
people
a
have got
little
there.
bit.
Yeah, the other
Yeah.
people have got there first. So it's going to feel like you're pulling from that. But I think if you had a kind of fresh era, more that kind of um, Rosemary's Baby era type.
Okay.
Okay. So what's that, 70s? 60s,
Yeah, like
70s?
you're you're looking at kind of early 70s. We
Seven?
can
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
put it around late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, it's kind of like technologically in the past. It still feels like a period piece. Well, sure,
Yeah.
it's 50 years ago at this stage. You have that religious element in it, and I just wonder, is there something there with a guy?
What you have is the conservative kind of
Mm,
50s and 60s
yeah, yeah,
clashing with the hippies that are coming emerging in the 70s.
you
So
do,
you
you
got
do.
this kind of with the war and the
Okay,
love
yeah, yeah,
movement.
that
It,
Vietnam era.
you're like there was this collision between the two, and these are like generations that were kind of passing through the night, and
Mm,
that could be very interesting to put this as a time frame.
it could be, yeah, and you could have like. You see, the thing is, like, I don't know if you want to make Jason like this immortal zombie guy. What if you just made him a guy?
You can.
Um,
That's part five, where it's just the
oh, is
ambulance
he?
driver. Yeah, part five is
Oh,
like
that's
there's
right.
no Jason, and then part six, Jason's back. He's
Yes.
alive, just like Halloween did.
Yeah,
Halloween's like
yeah.
we don't need Jason, and then part three is like he's back.
He's
Oh no,
back.
part four, he's back. He's back.
Um, yeah, no, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. So let's keep him human. Uh, it's that era of the hippies versus the religious kind of people. Why is he killing? Now the thing is, I've discussed this with you before. It's like this kind of thing of like going back and always kind of trying to like give the baddies like meaning. Does anyone care? But I think we have to give him something, or do we have to make him the good guy? And then as you go out of the film, there's room for him to become the bad guy, or is he a guy who is jumping between? He's walking on a kind of a tightrope of good guy, bad guy.
It depends because you can play it either way. Because considering like in his vantage point, somebody chopped his mother's head off, and she
Okay.
was trying to like she was getting revenge for him dying. It's confusing, but
Mm,
like he loves his mommy, and even in part two, he confuses that one final girl with his mommy because she put the sweater on. So there was early films that were pointing towards quite a sympathetic kind of
okay.
lost
Yeah, yeah.
figure. It just got out of control after a while, you know. But like
A
they were
bit.
going that direction. So for us, it just depends. Like, do we want to go back to the camp? Do we want to have it where you can skip Jason drowning and you could easily clean this up by just going like something happened to the mother? Like
Mm,
if you were to go and clean this up, that's probably how you do it. If you want Jason to be the killer, you just ignore the fact that the first one, Jason drowned, mother was a killer. Then it turns out he didn't drown. He was like lost in the woods eating squirrels, and then he saw his mother get decapitated. Like that doesn't even make a lick of sense.
no.
So you could simplify it by setting it back at the camp, but this is now in the 70s, early 70s.
Hmm.
The mother, she could still be the cook, and prank goes wrong. She ends up drowning, and then they ditch the kid in the woods or whatever, you know, and then like maybe that's in the 50s, and then he gets a bit older, and voila, you've got a feral, furious madman who has mommy issues. And we're right into the Friday the 13th structure again.
Mm. But
Early version of it that way.
is it worth? Sorry, because we're getting stuck on the real launching off point. Like, is that like, is it worth going to the hassle just to do what's been done? Like,
We
should
don't
you
have
not
to.
go somewhere completely different? Like, are you?
Woodstock?
Well, yeah, like I don't know, guy. Like, yeah, why not? Like, that's actually a cool idea. Totally different location, visually a totally different guy. Like, just like I'm thinking of someone like the Scarecrow, like a
Okay.
skinny brain bag, who, works in like toxins and poisons, and he's not going around with that machete. Because like it's that's done. Like I just don't think that'll ever be successful again. I don't think anyone wants to see that again. Um, but if you had a significance to the Friday the 13th date, if you had a good motivation for him, we were speaking earlier there about the hippie thing.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
you could.
against that era. We're at Woodstock. We're at okay, it's not called Woodstock. Maybe we're at a festival. Like that's interesting.
Something happened to his mother or somebody on Friday the 13th by hippies, careless hippies who were high as a kite, right? We're already driving towards your scarecrow character who
Oh
will
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
use hallucinogens like on the date his mother died at one of the biggest festivals of their generation.
That's it.
And like you can play with them freaking out, going like, I broke a mirror, like there's a black
Mm.
cat, like so. I actually enjoy this take of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's using the concept of fear against people who were responsible for his mother's death because of taking drugs. So he's using that against them.
Yes.
And you have this really cool, dynamic festival setting where you could have this. And then you probably, if you want, you tell me, but are we plucking some of the hippies as one of the heroes? Or is it somebody else who's kind of like the sister who just is just kind of there to mind her reckless sister? You can go a few different ways.
This is always the challenge, and myself and Brian have written a couple of slashery type movies over the years, and having compelling cannon fodder is really hard. Especially like when you're kind of your focus is to kind of get in X amount of kills and that kind of thing in the movie to make it be entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how do you make these people interesting, and then who is your hero? Yeah, without making it boring and just without making copy and paste. Like again, like if you're gonna remake this, there has to be a point to it. Not, otherwise the remake in 2009 would have been successful.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I'm not sure how unsuccessful it was.
Was there a second one?
That's more rights issues, though. I don't think
Was it?
I don't think Nightmare on Elm Street was successful. But I'm reading the book right now.
Oh, really?
Screaming and Conjuring, which charts the modern cinema from the film Scream to The Conjuring. So I haven't gotten there yet, but
Okay.
soon enough
Yeah.
I'll find out about that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good book. But we can do whatever we want. So we can do it that it wasn't his mother, it was his sister or something. It doesn't have to be a year's
It
gap.
can be his
So
girl. It could be
these people did something and he's immediately going after them. So like the time frame of the revenge is pretty clean. But we can skip the camp as well if we want to get completely away from it.
Oh, I wouldn't go near the camp again. Like I just go like, could this just be a guy who's like his girl and his newborn baby is in a run over by a hippie van, and do you know what I mean? And like they're
Mad
out
Max.
there. Was that the beginning? I haven't actually seen Mad Max 1.
Mad Max, his family were killed in a car collision.
Okay.
I think they got hit during a chase.
Ah, okay.
And Max got mad.
Max got mad. Well, Jason's going to get mad.
Yeah, well, honestly, that sounds pretty cool.
So
they're high as a kite as they drive. Like, I just love the idea of they're impaired because if you want to go the Scarecrow route, like he's going to use that against them, which is pretty clean.
Exactly.
So I like that aspect of it.
And we have our visual element. We got hallucinations. We've got our other element of like he could also be torturing them. You've got another feel of like maybe like Saw coming in there as well. You're blending in the Saw genre, and that we've got a cool environment. So who is up against him?
So do they work together, or are they just kind of like drifter goofballs? Kind of like Texas Chain, where it's just a bunch of people in a van. Or do they kind of like work together and they're excited about going to this festival?
I think they're just normal people who are excited to go to the festival. I think maybe they made a mistake. I don't know how much you'd want to kind of do the top where maybe they went to court, they were arrested, they got off somehow on a technicality, and that has stayed with this guy, so he's planning his revenge to kind of get them back because justice wasn't done, so he's going to seek his own justice. Like like I'm
a
thinking
year later on the date.
A year later on the day, exactly. And maybe do something funny with leap years. So yeah, it's another Friday the 13th the next year. I don't know, to get a lineup. Like I'm thinking of like what was that thing? Was it Death Sentence? I think I can't remember, with Kevin Bacon. Did you ever see that revenge flick with Kevin Bacon?
No.
Very good. Really good film. I think James Wan directed it.
Oh, really? I don't recall the title.
I think he did it after Saw, but like it'd be nice for part of the audience to be on board with Jason, but then you'd have to do a lot of work with the victim characters that like, okay, some are non-repentant, they don't feel at blame because maybe they were passengers or this or that, but like you're gonna need one or two very repentant ones, and maybe those ones who are kind of like psychologically scarred from like, oh God, I was driving the van that killed that lady, and every night I see that pram.
Right.
Um, they're dragged to the festival nearly by their friends. Look, you got to come with us. You got to
You
get
gotta
this.
unwind.
You got
You
to mind.
gotta,
Yeah, and
yeah.
they're
Look,
they're
this
teetotalers
will
now,
make you relax. Like,
and but they
seriously.
won't take any drugs. They're
Yeah.
teetotalers, and they're staying away, and they're like triggered by even like them their friends getting stoned around them, and then so he's picking those friends off first, and then you're working
I
your
even
way
have it
towards.
where that was the first time they ever took something. That happened, and they never
Yes,
went back. And they're
absolutely.
like, "Look, I didn't want to. It was a mistake.
Yes.
Somebody died." And like a year later, they're like, "Come on, just let's go." And we
Yeah.
can find another, maybe more compelling reason to get them to go to the festival, but doesn't matter. We want to get them
We get them
to.
festival. They're
We
nearly
got to get
forced
that person
onto
in. That
exactly.
person who just never felt comfortable. Um,
But
that makes
that
sense.
yeah, and they're never going to do it. And I mean, you're saving them for one of the later kills,
Yeah.
and they get spiked, and they're like they could be blaming a friend. You spiked, and it's like no, I didn't spike you, man. Jason spiked him. So you have all this sort of stuff going on. So you can have conflict within the friend group. You can have regret. You can have pain. You can have all that kind of stuff, and you're knocking off the friends who are more blasé or like, oh, it wasn't our fault, man. It wasn't our. Kill them off first, and you work your way
Yeah.
up to the last two who have a conscience. Let's say that.
Yeah, for sure. And you have a lot of fun with it too. Like there'd be tents at this place. So somebody goes in a tent, which is very Friday. And you're like, it just happens to be a tent at a festival,
Yeah, yeah.
not in a camp place. Yeah, I like it. So let's get their ass to the festival now.
Yeah.
They get there. I think they go in. They're excited. Who's this main person? Is it a male or a female character?
Yeah, it's generally a female, isn't it? Really, like
All
who?
right,
Isn't it
Gina.
like
Yeah, it usually is. Yeah.
usually a female? Should we go against that? I don't know. Fuck it, we'll give that one trope. We'll keep that one trope.
Yeah. Call her Gina or something,
Gina,
just so
okay,
we have
perfect.
like a name in our head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't mind the other ones, but usually it's like we got
So
Jason,
maybe
we
as
got
well, like yeah, we've got
Gina.
like a five in the group, five, six in the
Yeah.
group. Maybe some of that group is made up of people who weren't in that van. So maybe the van when the year previous, maybe it was Gina, her then boyfriend, who maybe pressured her into taking something that day or spiked her and she didn't know. Actually, yeah. So she's innocent but not innocent in that she was maybe spiked back then.
Oh,
You
I
know,
like it.
you're a square man and they gave her whatever, something LSD or some bullshit. And
She broke up
through
with this guy, Mike, and
after
now he wants to get her back at this festival.
he's there independently, but he's also he they have common friends and those common
Yeah.
friends have brought her. So she's oh yeah, I like that. I like that. So she's going to this festival and her first point of stress and fear is fuck the ex is here. I want to stay away from him.
Yeah.
Then she can be fighting with her friends who kind of let slip that they knew he'd be there and they're trying to get them back together. And she's like, I don't want to be around this guy. So you have a reason for those friend groups to now split up.
Yes.
So now they can be picked off. Excellent. Excellent, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
I
that. I
agree.
like that. Yeah. So now we have all that.
So
Yeah.
I could even
Yeah.
see them arriving, being
Mm,
excited as they go in. The camera lingers, and there's somebody who's up behind them. So it's like, oh snap,
yeah. Yeah.
Jason's here. And then maybe it's a thing where he swaps out their drugs like very early on. Like, so they got their area, and they're like, "Oh, get our stuff." And it's like, "Ah, don't worry, everybody's on. It doesn't matter." And
Mm,
you see the old switcheroo, and like, so whatever they had is now switched. He's giving them that scarecrow shite.
mm. And
that
he can like
he's been brewing.
he's been brewing his own batch
Yeah.
and he can even like he you can find inventive ways. Not just did he swap out their brew, like you could have like a kind of a I don't know love intent or like some kind of like big I don't know, dance center or whatever, and like he could be even so kind of brave as to go in and just like bump into one and inject them with something, or you could go anywhere with this if he's playing that kind of scarecrow game to torment them and freak them out. And I suppose his idea is that he's going to want to OD some of them.
Yeah.
He's going to want to maybe come up with a few other inventive ways than dying, like they walk
There's going to
off
be
into a yeah,
hallucinations as well, and
that's
you'd
it.
actually have a bit of fun. Like an OD would be like, this person's just out and
Yeah,
intoxicated and sloppy, whereas somebody else sees visions of a madman with a mask and a chainsaw or whatever,
or
you
a
know?
machete, and it's like
Yeah,
there's your
yeah,
cameo. Is like they're seeing this,
yeah.
and really it's just this small guy coming at them. Jason's a small guy, but in their mind he's a big huge guy with the mask and the fucking only one of them though. You know, you can just pay
Yeah.
that little bit of tribute. You don't make that the focus.
You could even have, like, you get more kills too if you had this male character who's single, who's there to like meet somebody, and a couple times the people he meets, they just fall apart on him because Jason's drugging the people he's with, and now people are looking at him. He's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't, like, what'd you give her? And like each person he's talking to, so he gets ostracized, and they're like, he goes off on his own with a beer, and like that's when he gets got. But you actually have a bit of a build up and a strategy to like get him on his own, where all the girls he's talking to are just getting spiked or jabbed, you know. And now in that environment, like that's not what they want, you know. Like that's even back then there'd be like people getting terrible reputations for fucking around, you know.
And like, should the last two alive be Dina? Isn't it Dinah?
Gina,
Gina.
yeah,
So I think Gina needs to, like, Gina's genuinely repentant.
yeah, I think so.
And I think she needs to survive. I think, like, you can come up with all these sort of creative ways, but essentially we have the bones of it. We have the setup. We have how he's going to exact his revenge, and you know those little details can be worked out of how he kills this guy this way, this way. We need him to do what, maybe 4 deaths. That's fine.
Yeah,
You've got this great environment, dynamic environment, lights, music, mood, tense, and I think he should work his way down to the last two, and
yes,
maybe they're together and they've realized now they've found their friends dead, or they know obviously something's up, and they're trying to escape. And naturally, at an event like this, no one's going to believe you. I'm sure there's very few police officers at this event. Getting help is challenging. So the audience can believe that when they watch the movie, that like these guys are running away from Jason, or they don't even know fully what they're running away from, and they can't get help. So believable in all those regards. Um, I still think that the ex-boyfriend is non-repentant, and he still believes it wasn't his fault or something.
yeah.
He'll get a terrible death, probably witnessed by Gina.
I mean,
And
does it go even bigger because we haven't even looked at the stage yet? Like we're at a
yeah,
festival
yeah.
and we haven't really even incorporated bands playing at the
Mm,
event, you know?
mm,
Like,
that's a good one.
is this
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
tangled in the lights? Like he could be hallucinating, on the run, climbing the structure, you know,
That's
like
it. Yeah,
this,
yeah,
like
yeah,
we
yeah.
want to use this
He's got the
environment.
biggest death. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
ramping up each time. That's it. That's it. Yeah, you're right. It's there for all to see.
yeah.
You know, just like Jason's life was for all to see. It was on the news. His life was ruined. This guy may as well be all to see. Yeah, I think the idea of getting him onto stage and him dying in some like mad thing with like the lights and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
would be cool. Um,
You could fall from the stage even.
Something like that. Like
Now, you
he
could hit the stage, or you can just be like swinging, dangling from it, you know,
see,
like from
and the thing is,
wires.
in those days, you don't have like the mega TVs on the sides of the stage.
Yeah,
So in terms of his death being off for all to see, it would have to be something straight down the middle of the stage. Maybe he does
Yeah.
come down, as you say, through the lights, and he's left hanging above the stage, and everyone can definitely see
Yeah,
that
just swinging there
swinging
from
there.
the
Yeah,
wires of the lights. It is, you know.
and maybe he's just like running away again, another manifestation of something. Actually, do you know what you could? Oh no, it's too scarecrowy. Sorry, I'm gonna go too scarecrowy. Okay, well, yeah, I'll stop myself there because I was gonna say something stupid like it could be like their internal fears of things they've always been afraid of, but
Okay.
that's literally the scarecrow. Like, we've gone too far there. But that's good. So like, yeah, you just have all that color, all that music, all that noise, all that chaos, no sign of help. Um, but I think okay, so Gina will see that, and then she's gonna run for it, but Jason's already ahead of her, so she's gonna end up getting trapped by Jason.
Yeah. So throughout this, I imagine that she starts seeing something's up. Maybe she's seeing
Mm,
somebody that looks
mm,
like him, and they're like, "Look, you're fine. You know, it's okay." It's
mm,
classic, but like we can't go everything out of the box.
mm.
So I think that makes sense because then whenever Mike is dangling from the stage, it's like it's completely confirmed. She's like, "Does everybody see that now?" Like,
Yeah,
does
yeah, yeah,
everybody?
yeah, yeah.
Can we just agree? And
But
they're like,
she's on
"It's
her.
not a.
She's
That
all
could
that's
be a
left, like
badass." Yeah, yeah. No,
really, isn't it?
there should be a couple extra because
Still
I
left.
feel like I feel like Mike could be like the midpoint. Like
Okay.
that's like the okay. Now we've
Okay.
now
Yeah,
they
yeah,
all
yeah.
know, and now they're like, we got to get out of here, and they're
Mm,
fearing. They don't know who to trust. They're probably been
mm,
spiked. Some of them could be spiked, so they're hallucinating. So now they're
mm,
running through this crowd, and people are looking like goblins and monsters and whatever. Like
mm,
you have this really nice scene from the midpoint to like the third act peak where like you're taking people out who are just in fear hallucination mode. I think you have this
mm.
amazing sequence that can happen at Woodstock, quote quote, with Jason, who's gotten them to that position. He's
Mm,
manipulated the scenario and spiked them to get here, and it all kind
mm.
of kicked off with Mike's brutal public display. So I think there's a really
Yeah,
iconic
no, no,
moment
that's a
within
good
that.
point. Yeah, if you push that earlier, and then you have maybe Gina and two others actively on the run.
Yeah,
Yeah, that could be cool. So then they're like trying to kind of just like come down or just zero in, and they're kind of fighting those visions that are coming in. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know whether you could or not. I don't know, but like maybe like that's part of the drama. That kind of way. It's like
You could have an amazing
visually
scene where
we could.
one of them hides in a porta potty
Mm,
or just kind of finds some secluded area or like the whole crowd is on the other side and this person she's just sitting there just trying to get her wits about her. She's trying to like calm down, kind of like the Man of Steel scene where the mother tells young Clark
oh yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's too loud, make it quieter. Like she's just trying
Mm,
this. There's so much filmmaking and audio techniques that you can play with here, and then little sounds. So she kind of quiets it down,
mm,
then starts hearing something. She looks
mm.
around, and like the entire festival's on this side, but there's some sound that doesn't belong there. And like you have this amazing tense moment built out of that scenario. So it doesn't have to be chase chase. I think separate them, and they all get
Yeah, yeah.
the people get different versions of how they get caught by Jason, eventually
Mm,
leaving Gina on her own. And she's like,
mm. I
I've
like
got to get
that.
out of here.
That's such a cool like that's such a great scene in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I It's such a great scene, and yeah, like something like that would be amazing. Just even that those effects, how that style, how that looked. If you transport that in to be the visually be amazing. So no, I love that. Um, but I think unfortunately, like maybe those last two get the chop somehow.
Yes.
Um, like I am like the thing that kind of keeps rattling around in my brain is like it's movies will always figure out a way to kind of like knock off the supporting characters.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like how will Gina? Because I think what will make this a bit different is if Gina survives and he lets her survive.
Yeah, I
If
think she
she
should live.
can,
That makes
yeah.
sense.
So like, and not that she survives by killing Jason.
Yeah.
Um, and then he just becomes an undead zombie who comes back the next one. But like, if she can convince him or communicate to him or do something, to kind of just change expectations like that. Like the twist is, look, it doesn't come down to a fight.
Is it too obvious where she ends up spiking him? Like, I think he's got to, like, we can get him into that. We can get him into the place where he's putting everybody else, which means he doesn't have to be killed, which means he doesn't have to kill her, but she's found a way to find him in the crowd and get him before she gets got. Which is what happens in Friday films, especially the early ones, is the whole final girl trope was the last 15 minutes or so is her being hunted. What if she goes hunting for him? Like,
okay. Yeah.
Like, he's now looking for her, but now she starts looking for him, which really flips the entire thing around, and she's like, okay, now she might have found, like, she realizes that the stuff that they're bringing with them is his stuff. So she actually has his drugs,
his poison.
Needles. Yeah. They've been walking around with a weapon this entire time.
Okay, yeah.
Which is quite clean. Like, as a story device, it's like quite clean. And she's like, well, I'm not going to use that, which she didn't want to use. Because maybe up until now, she's been clean. And she nearly said yes and then went against it. So, like, it could be cool where she's like, okay, I'm sober.
Yeah.
I'm clean. He's looking for me. Maybe he's looking for somebody who's out of it. So he's looking for her, but like in a crowd, he's looking for who's freaking out. But he doesn't realize she hasn't taken anything yet. So she can use that. She can use that to her advantage against Jason. I don't know.
Yeah,
something quite nice
something,
to that.
There's something in that where she could get the upper hand. You can do something visually, like people, I'm sure, like at these festivals are wearing masks or this or that, and she can put on a disguise, get close. She just has to hold her nerve, and that kind of thing. So maybe, she gets the advantage there, but she's not going to kill him.
No.
Because, like, I mean, you could have a moment like where, like if you do that and then what that poison does to him is that actually makes him relive that horrible moment of his life where he lost his partner and child. The kind of way, that's what happens to him. And she's right back there in that moment. Like they're both in that moment or something. And the tragedy
it's not even that she gives him the spike stuff. She could just give him something to sedate him, like, so we think she's going to give him that toxic stuff, but she actually just gives him something to mellow his ass out, to knock him out, like it doesn't have to be he hallucinates. Like these things, it can be a sedative, we could set that up earlier on at like the medical tent. Like we can have a scene like that where we introduce like there's sedatives on here. It's like, these kids, like some of them are uppers, some of them are downers,
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Like, she doesn't want to inflict what happened to them onto him. She basically wants to break the cycle. Like violence on violence is not the answer,
Yeah.
It's
so
like,
how
I'm
is
not
she
gonna
going
do for
to, like, I don't know what the magic words or the magic action, like there has to be something kind of like poignant and a moment of connection or something between the two of them somehow, or but like,
What do you think? Explore that thought.
Don't know. I don't know what that is. Like, I mean, because
What
like,
do you mean by a moment of like they're face to face, they're recognizing each other?
Like, so say for example, if he had the upper hand, there has to be a choice made on his part to stop and to not get the ultimate revenge on her, because he sees that she actually is already tortured by what happened and will forever be tortured by it, and she's truly repentant, unlike for example Mike and the other jerks or whatever. Or you have the thing where she has the upper hand and she has to make the decision to let him go and trust him that he won't come after her again, because she has already kind of taken from him the most important things in his life, and she's not going to be the monster he thinks she is, if that makes sense.
I
Um,
think we can get that. I do
mm,
like the idea that she's hunting him. It is quite different.
I
And
think
then
that's different.
maybe when she gets him and stabs him, he has that time where he's still, he has his faculties. So he
Mm,
knocks her down and he's about to get her. And that's that moment where, like, before he passes out, he starts to realize, or in that way, like maybe that she isn't like the others. So he
mm.
has that moment where he still has the ability to secure revenge, but she didn't give him what he gave them. And she looks like, I don't know, like we can figure it out, like visually,
I
what's the cue
Yeah.
that, like, that visual signal that she's not like her friends. And
Mm.
then at that point, he just kind of backs up enough until he collapses because the sedative has kicked in.
But
And
maybe it
she,
is, as you say, it's a sedative, and then he realizes she has the advantage. She can finish him off. Maybe it's a relatively isolated area where, conceivably she could get away with it, and
yeah,
then she doesn't, and she says some wonderful words of wisdom, and she drops the knife or the thing that gives her the advantage. We still won't do the machete, and she goes and she walks away like with her back to him, like nearly like a kind of like a thing of like trust of like, look, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to get revenge. I'm sorry for everything I've done. I'm walking
yeah,
away. And like, it's like, there's his, as you say, his faculties aren't fully gone.
yeah.
He could pick up that knife, he could chase her and could stab her, but he doesn't,
You could
you
actually
know?
see a really nice visual if, as she's walking away, you stay on her, and he gets blurrier in the background, and then you just see
Mm.
him drop. Like where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's like, you is he coming closer, and he's not, so she's getting away.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
this dies tonight or this dies here, like, is not them individually, but like the issue they have between each other, like it's done,
Mm.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
which is quite nice. And you're like, that there's nothing else. Like, we're cool with each other now, and he
Mm.
can drift off. Like, she's not gonna do
Yeah.
anything to him. He, like, it's a truce, basically, I suppose we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And given the way, whatever the way all the people died who he killed, it could be explained away in the sense that it was the 70s and there was a bad batch of whatever,
yeah,
because perhaps the people haven't died from stab wounds or gun wounds. They've died from potentially self-inflicted, albeit accidental deaths.
yes,
So he has a clean out. There's, in a sense, there's no evidence to link him to it. She
yes,
has a clean out in that she never took any of these drugs that her friends all took. Um, and then I suppose the question is after that is, uh, I suppose you have to leave it in a sense of a certain level of unease of like, in a sequel, will he actually change his mind and come back and get her, or whatever. But I mean, there's your little tease, you know?
yeah. It's true. We can actually go back to that one climactic moment, because I had a thought about that. If they actually had this real standoff, and at one point two syringes go into necks, like, so it's kind of
Mm,
like a Western standoff. She gets him, but now he still has one in her neck or in
mm.
her, but he hasn't plunged it yet. And
Oh,
that's like right next to each other, and like he doesn't do it, and you're like,
Ah,
wait, he still could, like, and so she's
ah,
she's like really cautious. They're breathing, they're like face to face, and like that could be that moment where she's telling him, like, I'm so sorry, like, I am, like,
mm,
like, and now you've got this moment where, like, he only has a little bit of time left before the sedative kicks in, and he's getting woozier. He's listening to her, and like she's got this thing right in her neck, and she's
mm.
like, they're having this real intense moment, and then he doesn't plunge, which is quite nice because
Yeah.
it's just a thumb, like the movement of a thumb, like it's this
Mm,
much, and she's done for, and she
mm.
repents to him right at this moment, and he just accepts it, and that's it. So there's
I
something
think that could
really
be cool. Yeah,
nice
that could
about
be
that.
interesting. Like, because you see him nearly like actively making a choice not to do it, And then
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some people who will be able to argue that, well, look, it was already getting into his system, and he was weakened at that stage. But
And
we
that could be
know.
your that could be your poke to a sequel. Is like, what was
Mm,
it? Was it his choice not to,
mm,
or was he distracted until he had no choice?
But yeah, exactly. But it's like if you have a level of a moral compass around who he kills and why, and you're not getting into just randos, it's people directly linked, or um it's set up in such a way that there's a level of free will with some of them. They I don't know, like you showed that if you do that, so when you get that ending and he doesn't do the plunge, it does hark back to he has some sort of not code, but
Oh,
a,
I can see
a
that.
moral center to it, like, and so that will back that up.
Yeah. No, I think it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, good.
Wow. And we did it. I had no idea where we were going on that one. Wow. I actually really like that version.
I had no idea either, I'll be honest with
Wow.
you. But I just knew I had no interest in making a reboot of Guy
Oh,
in Lake and Campers and whatever.
that might be the wildest swing I've ever had in one of these recordings where you were like, liar, liar, and then back to
I
hard.
know.
I was like, oh man, I'm just trying to find a center here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I was like, can
I
we
really
do a
like it.
comedy? Can we do a comedy? But
That's
that's
why
supposed to be
sessions with
half
you
the
are particularly
yeah.
fun. Like a lot of people I do these with, they want to, especially with IP, they're like, these are the borders, these are the
Mm,
barriers, and you're just like, whatever. I don't want to, which is fun because I think that really gives us a great exploration of what you can do with an idea.
mm.
I really like it. I mean, because you got a lot of the actual tropes of a Friday the 13th type of film, but a completely different way. I
Yeah.
actually really enjoy using the substance that took away faculties. So it's more
Mm.
drugs than sex, basically. Like in Friday the
Oh yeah,
13th,
yeah.
they were too busy having sex, so my boy drowned. You're
That's
just
it.
taking like another vice from the era that they do
Mm.
anyway and play with that.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
I
make
think
it
it turned
about
into a
the
very
yeah,
strong idea, Mr.
make it about the
Bush.
drugs rather than like the other thing is just done to death,
Yeah.
and let's just do something else.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Mm.
So
Good.
there we have it. The Friday the 13th, Jason goes to Woodstock.
Oh Jesus. Oh
You
God.
didn't realize that's the title, did
Yeah, that's it. Well, that, I suppose, yeah, that is the title.
you? You're like,
Why
I need
not?
something
Why not?
sophisticated, something
I know,
unique.
I know.
My street cred is here. Oh no, you went to Woodstock.
Yeah,
Wonderful. All right, thank you so much,
good,
Paul,
good.
for
No
joining me
worries.
today for this session. And for everybody watching, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed this, this is part of an entire mini-series with all the episodes available in our Friday the 13th playlist on the Storybreakers YouTube channel. Also, we want to know what you would do for your version of Friday the 13th. Let us know in the comments below. Okay, that's a wrap for all of us. Thank you once again, Paul. Thank you, listeners and viewers, for watching and listening. And until next time, take care.